We are live, Mark, and this is the May 19th weekly webinar brought to you by Propy. And I'd like to welcome everyone. This is where we talk about real estate innovations, technology, and more. And my guest today is Mark Johnson, CEO, JP and Associates. JPAR is one of the top 20 real estate brokers in the US, 66 offices across 23 states and over 3,500 agents. And today's topic, don't blame resources, get resourceful. Mark, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, that's a great topic and one that I am passionate about. And I think is something everyone, it's that growth mindset. So yeah, let's get after it.
All right, so for those that may not know you, Mark, give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Well, so I have deep experience and love for the real estate professional. I am the host of a weekly show called Success Superstars that highlights the blueprint of success for peak performers just like you all listening in. I'm the co-founder of a coaching company called Co-Recruit, which actually helps managers recruit the talent that's listening in. But my main job is the chief executive officer here at JP and Associates, a rapidly growing full service transaction-based real estate brokerage. I've spent well over 25 years understanding the inner workings of high performing real estate agents, teams, and managers in major markets, quite frankly, all across the world. So I am a Army vet. I served several years in the U.S. Army. My first post was at Fort Sam Houston in Texas here. But more importantly, I'm a father of three, a lifelong learner. I do some crazy things like Spartan races and climb Kilimanjaro. I did earn my MBA from California State University, and I have a unique certification called Behavior Change Specialist from the National Association of Sports Medicine. So that's a few things about me.
Excellent. And today's topic, there's three things for you agents and others that are watching today. It's managing client emotions, submitting a compelling offer, and creating more inventory. That's what we hope you get out of today's discussion. So let's just jump right into it. And I know, speaking with you earlier, Mark, you had a good little side story for one of my favorites. But now, I'll let you tell the rest of the story.
The rest of the story. Well, managing client emotions, one of the key things that we all know, we're going to close here just in the JPAR brokerage, not the franchise operator. We're going to close over 20,000 transactions this year.
Wow.
And, as soon as I think we've seen everything, we see something new. But the one thing that's common is you're the calm in the storm. These clients and vendors and everyone is going to push your hot buttons. But if you react to those, then you lose control of the transaction. And it starts with a growth mindset. A growth mindset. If you can imagine a pyramid for a moment, and the four components, we all want to start with the tools at the top of the pyramid, but the base of the pyramid is your mindset. And then it's your game plan, and then it's your skills, and then it's your tools. And part of your mindset is knowing what your hot buttons are and how you can approach them in advance and be the voice of reason in uncertain times. And so part of it is being very intentional about managing your emotions. Who's the agent that you want to be today? And are you going to let the hot buttons control you, or are you going to be in charge?
And what are some of the things that you teach your agents to be able to, are there any skills, drills, practices? How would one go about getting control of their emotions?
Well, part of it is just awareness. Part of it is we spend a lot of time on the Realtor Code of Ethics. Realtor is in our name. And the Realtor Code of Ethics about doing the right thing. The Code of Ethics to us is more than just words on a piece of paper. We believe it, we breathe it, we live it. And there are certain articles that apply to how we treat each other in the profession. There are certain articles in the code of how we treat consumers. And our duties to those. And so we start with just understanding what's our duty from a code of ethics perspective. then we role play and work on what's going to push your hot buttons. And we know, all of us have someone that's going to push our buttons. That may be as simple as when you write that email or that text, that you wait 30 minutes before you send it, and then you trash it or edit it. There's some techniques like that that are simple, that can be so powerful, because once you send that email, once you send that text, that maybe comes from emotion, there's no turning back.
And now coming at the end of COVID here, and I think most of us are looking for June 15th across the U.S. Granted, states like Texas and others have opened up earlier. My county here in California, we're moving into yellow. So that means I think bars and others have opened a little further, and we can get some resemblance of normal. Mm-hmm. But I hear a lot of agents, and I'm not saying making excuses, but maybe it is, right? We get to this time, there's going to be two camps. There's some agents I see are doing really, really well. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't hear them talking about COVID. They're just talking about work. What does it mean by, and I know in our title today we had,
don't blame
resources, get resourceful. Maybe you can shed a little light on this for the rest of us.
So first of all, I have, in my own sphere of influence here, the highest percentage of agents who's had their best year ever during COVID and over the first months of this year in company history.
But there's no inventory. How?
Yeah.
How can they do that?
So why? So first of all, why? So even before that, even back before when COVID started, right? And then we had Snowmageddon, and and then we had no inventory. So we've been punched in the stomach with at least three major things that would take the wind out of anybody's sails. And I want to come back to its four things. I learned this in the military, and those that are successful know this. That it starts first with the growth mindset. Knowing that there's more possible out there. And it's so easy to get into a fixed mindset. We're always on a continuum of growth to fixed mindset. It's human nature. But we understand that progress is not a perfection. Perfection is not a standard. Progress is, and that starts from a growth mindset. Two, then it has a solid game plan. And one of the things that's so amazing, Joe, about real estate is the game plan changes in every market. Right now, when there's no inventory, working non-owner occupieds is a big deal. Having a robust place to get a hold of your sphere of influence and stay in touch in a meaningful way is very, very important. So a growth mindset, a solid game plan. Then number three is skills, hard skills, selling, marketing, negotiation skills. And then finally, it's the enabling tools and resources, which most of us try and put first. But if we don't have a strong growth mindset, a solid game plan, and skills, the tools and resources are useless. I mean, I could give you a Ferrari, but if you don't know how to drive it, you're just going to crash and burn.
And that is why don't blame resources, get resourceful.
And
I love it. It reminds me of one of my favorite motivational speakers, Zig Ziglar, which used to always say, get rid of that stinking thinking.
Need a checkup from the neck up, right?
That's right. That it is.
Now there's another famous quote from Jack Canfield that I really love. And it basically says, Joe, that we have control over three things in our life: the thoughts we think, the images we visualize, and the actions we take. And how you and I use those three things determines everything we experience. Think about it. The thoughts we think, the images we visualize, and the actions we take are the three things that each and every one of us can control. Everything else is kind of out of our control. And once I figured that out, and others that I work with figured it out, their breakthrough begins.
So, that's good input for the rest of us. So everyone, tomorrow morning when you wake up, I want you to think of those. What are the three things you can control today? Mm-hmm. And then don't worry about anything else.
Yeah.
And you should have a better day.
Yeah.
All right. So
Want to get into the second item is submitting a compelling offer. And first of all, congratulations. What did you say? 20,000 transactions?
We're going to close well over 20,000 transactions by the end of the year. Mm-hmm.
That is just a wow. Okay, so
Big number. Mm-hmm.
Submitting a compelling offer.
Yes.
Low inventory, multiple offer scenarios. How does an agent go about submitting a compelling offer?
So first and foremost, we have a number of agents who run their business like a business, and they track their conversion rate. I have one, I could call him up right now and say, what's your percentage of accepted offers? And he's at 70% of his offers are accepted. Why is that? We just had a panel of all of our agents, and they discussed, you know, the 5 steps they can take. First, it's professionally written. You know, it's not handwritten. It's not have sticky notes all over. It's a professionally written contract. 2, it's complete with all of its forms, addendums, and all of those things, right? 3, the buyer has, you know, fully pre-approved proof of funds, you know, all of those kind of things, or maybe it's a cash buyer, but you know, all of those things are well documented. And then depending on the market you're in, there could be appraisal addendums or appraisal waivers or certain things depending on the client's choice. But there are an element of those. And then quite frankly, it's the old fashioned thing. You'd be surprised. I just did a survey of all of our listing agents and how many co-op agents picked up the phone and made a phone call. There weren't too many of them, but the ones who made a phone call and said, I'm sending you an offer, here's the components of it, here's how it's professionally packaged, got ahead of the pack. There's just some basic blocking and tackling in that process.
So where do you think the traps come from for some agents? That they're not, is it they're stressed, they're rushed, they're just trying to take the easy way out?
All of the above, you know, well, let's just go through the motions, right? You know, when you work through with someone and they're just going through the motions, we've all seen it. Yeah. So just going through the motions, taking the easy way out. Oh, it's just always going to be fixed mindset. Oh, they're just going to reject it anyway. So why put in the effort into it? Right.
So it's treat every offer as your last offer. Do the best you can, right? Basic sales fundamentals here.
It's your duty to the client to treat that as if that's your highest and best use of time right now, is to present that in the most favorable light to the listing agent and get through to the client. Mm-hmm.
And that comes back to something you said very early in this conversation, is your code of ethics. How are you treating your customer?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then how does one go about creating more inventory when the news is dreadful, especially in the Texas area? There's no inventory. The inventory is getting snatched up in hours. How do you advise your agents to create more inventory?
More conversations. Right now, it's harder. It's first, you just have to suck it up. Right now, the business is harder. It's harder than it's ever been. And there's no replacement for having more conversations. Let me give you an example. I just happened to be into my doctor's office the other day, and we happened to be having a casual conversation. And guess what? He happens to own 2 rental properties. He has no clue what they're worth. Once we had a casual conversation, and now he kind of knows what's going on in the market, guess what he's getting ready to do? He's getting ready to list those 2 properties with one of my agents because he just had no clue what was happening. And that just happened because I happened to bring up a conversation. You know, hey, do you happen to own any rental properties? Oh yeah, I've got 2. And he didn't even know what a 1031 exchange was. So how many conversations are we missing from people that you're trading with, your doctor, your dentist, your CPA, and within your sphere of influence, that there's hidden inventory just inside your database, inside your phone is sitting 2 listings or 3 listings right now that you just haven't talked to them. So number 1 is your sphere and the folks you already trade and do business with. Number 2 is the non-owner occupieds. There are more non-owner occupieds than ever because it's over the last 10 years, we've had reduced interest rates. People have been able to keep their old home as they move up to another home because interest rates are so low they can afford both, and they rent out the other one where they turn it into an Airbnb. And now that the market's up there, it's a compelling price. And so non-owner occupied is another key way to uncover hidden inventory.
So no, low inventory doesn't mean no opportunity is what you're saying.
Oh my gosh, absolutely not. Yeah, it's harder. It's going to be harder. And I had one of my top performers call me last week. She last year had gross commissions income of near $1 million. And she said, Mark, it's so much harder. It's just so much harder. I'm having to work so much more than I ever have. I don't know if I want to do it. Now, she was just having a bad day. But even the top performers who are performing at a high level are having to deal with their mental state and their growth mindset because it's so much harder. Now, you can blame it. You can blame resources, or you can get resourceful and suck it up. There's two choices. And, I don't know what choice you're going to make, but I can tell you the ones that are having their best year ever. I already have, I counted the other day, I already have nearly 300 agents who've already done more business in the first months of this year than they did all of last year. How is that? There's no inventory, but they've done more business than they did all of last year. Year on year, they've been here obviously, 2 years or more, and they've already exceeded their last year number already. It's possible because they have a growth mindset. They're working on their game plan. They have the skills. They're being creative to maneuver in this market. They're having more conversations than they ever had. They're working harder than they've ever worked in their life, but they're making things happen.
Now it comes back. Are they happier? Do they feel they are in control?
Well, now that's a whole longer conversation, but yes, for sure. Yeah, I would submit they're happier, they're more engaged, they're having the time of their life, even though they're working hard. It's all about balance, right?
All right, and if you're just joining us here, you can catch the recaps. We will replay these on Facebook, LinkedIn, and others. We're with Mark Johnson, CEO of JP and Associates. Mark is also an author. He has a book out, Up in Your Business: The Art of Productivity. It's a good read. Here's my Mark. I'm almost done with it for you, Mark.
Oh, so you're actually reading it?
Yes, I am. I am a little book nut. I love motivational books. If anyone out there has a good read for me, drop me a line, Joe at Propy. Let me know. Or find me on Clubhouse. And I think you had another recommendation on a book for us today, Mark.
One of them was, one of our topics, I think, was running your business like a business. And we run off of the 4 disciplines of execution. There's a great thing on Amazon. It costs you like $6. This is the Cliff Notes version, the summary of the 4 disciplines of execution that I would encourage everyone to get. They're pretty basic principles. One is focusing on your money ball. The money ball is, I can predict the success of everyone's business right now who's on this webinar with one number. And it's the number of brand new appointments, the brand new number of appointments that you have in your calendar right now. And some of your hearts may have just sunk because you looked at your calendar, you had no new appointments. That's a leading indicator of your business. No new appointments, no income. It's just that simple. We got to do whatever we can to do to drive new appointments every day and every week.
I want to thank you. Any other bits of wisdom you'd like to share our audience today?
Well, as a coach, as an entrepreneur, as someone who likes to make things happen, I could go on for days on this topic. But here's what I'd like to have the audience consider. The best way to achieve a breakthrough is to become more intentional about your thinking and your time. So Joe, think about this. Every challenge that you and I face is a thinking problem or a time problem. So if you're not getting the results you want, more listings, more inventory, more sales, it might be related to your thinking and how you spend your time. So to change your results, you must be willing to change your thinking and how you invest your time. I like to think of it, Joe, as no excuse thinking, a solution-oriented thinker, and longer-term thinking. And I guess I'd leave the audience with this. If you want to expand your thinking, ask yourself a few questions like these. You might want to write these down. What is holding you back? Number 2, what if? How can I, ... Who else is doing it that I can model after? What resources do I need? What obstacles do I need to overcome? So by asking, and I think Tony Robbins says this so well, when you ask a better question, you get a better answer. And so that's what I would leave everyone with today is ask a better question. You get a better answer.
And I don't have a better question on that one. We're going to leave it. We're going to leave it with that, audience.
There we go.
I'm with Mark Johnson, CEO of JP and Associates. I want to thank you for your time today. And I want to thank all of you watching us on Propy's weekly webinar as well. If anyone does want to stick around, Gwyneth Iredale, Propy's Senior Customer Success Manager, will offer a demo. I know a few of the attendees on right now are already Propy customers and already went through her onboarding. But if you want to learn more about Propy, visit propy.com. That's PROPY.com. I appreciate and I thank you all for joining us today. Mark, thank you. You've been a pleasure as always.
That's so welcome. I do write a weekly blog if anybody's interested. I don't know if we can share that link or not.
Yeah, can you go ahead and share that link again and also type it into the chat window? And then my marketing team will include that when she republishes this video.
Yeah, for sure. And it's real simple. It's just jpar.com/blog. And I'll type that in there and I'll put one that I just referenced for this session. I'll put that in the chat bar right now. Well, I am so pleased. Joe, thanks for inviting me. I love pouring into folks and being a resource. And if I can help the industry up its game, I'm all in for it.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody, and have a good day.